World famous Phil Hendrie show here, back with Senator John McCain, and I had your daughter on the show, Senator, just before the election. Megan, she's a terrific kid, and I asked her, I said, so how's your pops relax? She said he barbecues with a really disgusting drink, a little bit of vodka, and an onion. And I said, that sounds good to me. She loves you, man. You got such a great family. She really loves you, and I could tell she was very, very proud of you.
I thank you.
Let's talk.
I have two sons. Two of my sons also are in the military, and a daughter that's in high school. So I'm proud of Megan. We don't always agree, but we sure have spirited conversations.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, I can tell that she's so devoted to you. Senator, let's talk a little bit about this waterboarding situation, something that I personally felt, and I still feel, I know how you feel about torture. I've looked at the Geneva Conventions, and there are some arguments that can be made in favor. But let me ask you, we have a situation here with Congresswoman Pelosi, who is leading the Intelligence Committee there in the House. It seems like some stuff is going to come back and bite some people on the rear end with this discussion. I know that the president doesn't want to go anywhere near this, and I don't think that Holder does, but they've got to enforce the law. Do you think there's a few Democrats that are going to have to answer some questions, some pretty serious questions on this topic?
I think there could in the case of the speaker, because to be briefed that certain interrogation techniques are being used and then not expect them, are acceptable, and then not believe that they're being used is a bit of a significant stretch. But I really believe, Phil, and I know that people feel very strongly about this, but we really need to move forward here. We're still in two wars. We've got threats to our security. It is well enough known now what was done that and I opposed it all along. I had personal meetings with members of the administration arguing against this, because of my strong belief that if Americans are held captive, if American men and women are in prison, then they will be mistreated as well, as one of the reasons for it. But also it's a violation of the Geneva Conventions. It's also a violation of an anti-torture international agreement that Ronald Reagan negotiated and signed. So for a whole lot of reasons, could I just relate one incident that I had, and I'll make it brief. I was with Senator Lindsey Graham, and we were in the biggest prison in the world at that time, Camp Bucca, which had 20,000 prisoners. The head of the prison, who was an Army general, United States Army general, took us into a secluded area. We met with a former high-ranking al-Qaeda operative who spoke good English, one of the toughest guys I've ever seen in my life. I said, how did you succeed so well? He said, we succeeded for two reasons. One, after the initial invasion, there was nothing but chaos, and people wanted order, and they turned to us. He said, our greatest recruiting tool, we recruited thousands of young men. He said, young men. He said, was Abu Ghraib. So isn't that evidence from a high-ranking al-Qaeda operative that this not only is not helpful, but it can be harmful?
Well, you know what, Senator, I can't quibble with a man who endured such vicious torture himself. I've read the Geneva Conventions, and maybe someday, if I'm lucky enough, you and I can sit down and have a real long talk, and you can slap some sense into me. I want to ask you one more. You can torture me into the. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I want to ask you, sir, about Arlen Specter flipping over to the Democrats. I guess that's not a real big shock, is it?
It did surprise me a bit.
Did it?
I think that Senator Specter made it very clear when he made his announcement that he could not be elected or reelected in the state of Pennsylvania as a Republican. I think that really was the motivating factor here, and that his opponent in the primary was ahead by some 20 points. So, what I think the moral of the story is that we Republicans are now down to 40 members, and we need to try to do everything we can to make progress back by being inclusive, by tolerating other people's views, even if we don't agree with them, as long as we share principles that We are a big tent party. Ronald Reagan once said, if somebody agrees with me 80% of the time, then I'm with them. And so we got to kind of, we have to, not kind of, we have to absolutely go back and recruit candidates, including, by the way, it's very important we recruit and elect Hispanics who share our principles and views. And we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of work to do.
Hey, Senator,
I was more alarmed this morning at the 21% number that you saw. 21% of the registered voters are Republicans now, down from 32, I believe, last November. That's the disturbing number.
I guess we got about a minute. Can you tell me about this low-flying plane? I know you got really angry, as did the president, about these clowns flying these planes. I mean, what is that about? You know?
That's what everyone has. What is that about?
What is that about,
by the way,
man?
Did it cost the taxpayers flying a couple of F-16s and the Air Force One backup plane? Wow, that gets a little expensive. But most important,
I mean, they had people jumping in the river looking at that. I mean, everybody was just So you got really.
You know, what's it all about? That's what I say. You know. So anyway,
a photo op, I guess.
That's what I think.
So do you think the president probably ripped somebody pretty well for this?
I'm sure that he did, and I think he's capable of it.
Very good. Hey, Senator John McCain, I thank you very much, sir. And again, thanks for being with us. And it's always great to just watch your activities, man. You're an interesting guy, and appreciate you being
Next
with us.
time I'm on, maybe we could hear. Is it Frodo the puppet?
Frodo the puppet, and we can bring on Margaret. I know she's got some excoriating questions to ask you.
Thanks,
Senator. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you.
Senator John McCain on the Phil Hendrie Show. What?
I'm a big fan. I wanted to ask him.
You ain't coming on and asking him nothing. Our number 877-876-PHIL. We'll be right back.